This program contains dramatic reenactments and material that may be disturbing to some audience members. Viewer discretion is advised.
A brother risks his life, finding his way out of a twisted canyon.
It was scary being alone and scary leaving him alone.
At stake was his older brother's life.
I didn't know if he was going to be okay.
Then, when he succeeds, rescuers risk their lives too, in order to find the injured hiker.
It's a very treacherous part of the country, very unforgiving. I just refused to die.
His leg shattered with a life-threatening fracture.
We've got to hurry. This is serious.
It's a race against time for the injured and the rescuers. The two brothers' morning descent into the canyon gave only a hint of the torturous path that lay ahead. It was cold, wet, and treacherous. Night was closing in fast. As temperatures dipped below freezing, the priority was to get out of the canyon quickly and return to base camp.
You gotta down climb. Come on.
Then, when Justin fell and broke his leg, their bad situation became a whole lot worse.
What are we gonna do?
I'll climb through, I'll get help, and I'll bring help back.
We made the decision that Jeremy was going to have to get out of there.
I love you.
I love you.
As he was getting ready to leave, we told each other that we loved each other, we'd be strong, and we'd be able to get out of this. I remember him going farther down the canyon from me, and he was gone.
Justin estimated that it could take Jeremy about 3 or 4 hours to wind the few miles out of the canyon and hike back to their base camp. From there, his brother would call for help, and then it would probably take another 3 or 4 hours before a rescue team arrived. In the meantime, Justin could do nothing more than suffer his painful injury and the numbing cold.
I remember just feeling really miserable, really angry, thinking how stupid I was. How could I let that happen? I just leaned into the wall and cried for a while.
Justin forced himself to stay awake, checking on his leg that was severely swollen from a compound break in his shin bone, and doing what he could to keep warm.
I started to wonder about shock. I didn't want to start to lose my mental capacity and not know what was going on. So I sat there and I thought about my children's and my wife's names and birth dates. Just repeated that over and over again, and I thought if I could do that 100 times and not forget things, then I was doing fine.
The morning sun brought some relief from the bitter cold.
Hello?
He expected rescuers to arrive by midday.
Hello?
His hope of salvation faded along with the daylight. Dreams of a quick rescue gave way to the nightmare of spending a second night alone in the cold canyon.
I was worried about Jeremy. That's when I started to wonder if maybe he had had an accident or if he had died that night in the canyon. If it's been 24 hours and I haven't heard from anybody, then there's a good chance that he didn't make it out.
Justin had no way of knowing that his brother had in fact made it out of the canyon. From the minute he left Justin, Jeremy struggled for miles over boulders and across freezing pools of runoff water.
No.
At one point, he lost his way and had to retrace his steps. By Sunday morning, he was exhausted, hallucinating and suffering from severe dehydration and hypothermia.
I made it back to base camp. I got in the car and started it and started the heater. Justin had a cell phone there, but it was dead, so I had to charge it. There was no signal at all, zero.
Jeremy climbed atop the truck and got a cell signal, just strong enough to reach the Emery County Sheriff's Department.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
We're up here at Baptist Draw. He fell, he's down in the canyon.
They immediately mobilized the all-volunteer Emery County Search and Rescue Team.
SO701.
Typically, our rescues are slot canyon rescues.
Our ETA, we are 10 minutes out.
They're the most dangerous place I've ever been in my life. It's so remote, it takes a search and rescue team sometimes days to get to people out in that area. It's a very treacherous part of the country, very unforgiving.
Jeremy, how far down there is Justin?
A couple miles in, I don't know.
Can you tell us how long you guys were hiking before he fell?
No, a few hours, I don't know.
Jeremy was just exhausted beyond belief.
Just go look for him. He's out there somewhere. He's alone.
Just relax first. We'll get an ambulance on its way and get you taken care of.
Normally what we do is we would take the person back to where the injured party is, but he was in such a condition, the only thing we could do was have him taken to a hospital.
When I was taken to the ambulance, I was completely depleted. They couldn't even put an IV in me. I was so dehydrated.
Let's split up. We'll work in teams.
Jeremy told the rescuers, as best he could describe, where Justin had fallen.
We decided that we'd have to find out from the top of the canyon where he was down at the bottom.
Hey, Justin! Oh, Justin!
We could not see the bottom of the canyon. We threw some light sticks down, and they just disappeared.
Down in the dark canyon, Justin had no clue yet that a rescue was in the works.
My body was telling me lay down and go to sleep, but I couldn't. I was too nervous about maybe falling asleep and not waking up.
If he lost his fight to stay awake, if he nodded off, even for a moment, he might not hear the searchers. If he slept now, he'd likely die in the canyon. As soon as they arrived on scene, the Emery County Search and Rescue Team began combing the remote Utah Canyon for the injured hiker.
We started searching the ledges to see if we could hear him and he could talk back to us and we could find where he was.
Unaware that help was in the area, Justin laid shivering in the bottom of the canyon.
I started to hear things out in the distance.
The team hurled M80 fireworks into the canyon to try to wake Justin if he had lost consciousness.
I figured that's either help on the way or I'm hallucinating and I'm near the end.
Rescue teams walked along the edge of the canyon, calling down to where Justin might be trapped.
We were pretty excited when we heard that voice.
It was almost unreal that it was actually happening. And they asked how I was doing, and I told them I was cold, got a broken leg.
But I'm doing all right! How's my brother?
How's Jeremy? And they said he made it out. He's at the hospital getting some help, but he's doing okay.
The crew estimated that Justin was nearly 500 feet below the mesa. A few team members began a treacherous rappel down the steep canyon walls.
We had to do 3 rappels in the dark. Couldn't even see the bottom of where we were rappelling.
I'm over here!
I heard them coming for a while, and I knew they were trying to get to me, and I knew it was really difficult.
The descent into the canyon took the rescuers the entire night.
Justin!
Over here!
Oh, I see him. He's right up here.
Diane Chandler, an EMT and a volunteer on the team,
There's not a lot of room.
was one of the first to reach Justin.
Hey, Justin.
Well, when I first saw him, I was pretty excited. It's like, hey, this guy is alive. He's talking to me. He's coherent.
Just relax. Let us take a look and see what we have here.
She pulled my pant leg up, and I think immediately she knew how bad it was.
I tried to school my face not to show the shock when I looked at his leg.
How bad is it?
Let's just focus on getting you out of here right now, okay?
When she wanted to change the subject, I knew that was probably not a good sign.
It was hard and it was oozing blood and fluid.
Immediately she knew that it was life-threatening.
All right, I'm gonna go let him know we found you.
Take some deep breaths, try to relax.
This is Diane. Go ahead. I'd say due to the epidermal oozing, the location of the break and the size of his leg, it's gotta be something like compartment syndrome. We need to get him out of here as quickly as we can, okay?
We're looking about 30 minutes.
Copy that.
Justin's leg showed the effects of blood fluid pressure accumulating under the skin around the injury.
Okay.
Hold all the weight.
Called compartment syndrome, the resulting disruption of blood flow can cause critical damage to vital organs of the body.
All right, I'm gonna slide this splint right under right now.
Compartment syndrome is pretty dangerous. Not just risking a limb, but also for the life, because toxins build up into that compartment. If those are released into the body, you can just die from that.
Up top, the rope team began setting up a system to extract Justin.
We started setting our pulley systems and our belay systems up.
Lovely.
It takes a lot of time to do that, especially out in that area. The anchors are really bad. There's not a lot of trees, so we had to drill bolts to make sure our anchors were safe.
As the rescuers rigged the ropes, Diane tried to stabilize Justin.
I remember her trying to give me an IV,
This is frozen solid.
but as soon as she got the lines out, it would freeze because it was so cold. So she sat with me and she talked to me. And we talked about my family. It was so comforting to have her there to take my mind off of what was happening.
Lots of times people think when you get there, all of a sudden it's over. But really, the work has just begun.
I really just tried to focus on the things that I could do. Stay positive, just focus on staying alive.
For the rescuers,
Ready on top?
Yeah!
getting Justin out of the canyon alive was a race against time. A race they weren't certain they'd win.
A lot of loose rock right above Justin that we had to work through.
It was 500 feet straight up a wall, and I was in the basket. Ken was attached to the rope, holding the basket and keeping me from banging against the wall.
We're almost there, man.
Ken was just a rock. He was just amazing.
There were several obstacles we had to overcome. The team on top worked their guts out getting me and Justin up.
The extraction is happening.
From the hospital, Jeremy watched his brother's rescue unfold on live television.
I knew that they were hauling him up the wall, but I didn't know that he had made it up until I saw it on television.
Frigid November temperatures have added to the urgency.
A life flight helicopter rushed Justin to the Intermountain Medical Center in Salt Lake City.
After I got to the hospital, I was able to see Jeremy. It was pretty amazing to look in his eyes and tell him thank you.
I'm serious. Thank you for fighting. Thank you for staying alive.
Thank you for doing everything that you had to do and go through to get out of there, and for not giving up.
I'd be dead if it wasn't for you, man.
I'm sorry, man. No. That time was extremely hard. I felt responsible for what happened. When you feel like you've hurt your brother so bad, it brings you down a lot.